Hey everyone, it is Thursday, and you know what that means. We are continuing our expert series. We are bringing back Omar. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's up, Michael? How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Life's good, man. Life's good. Life's good when you just choose to be happy. So yeah, life's good. Uh,
Choose to be happy. I love it.
yeah, I again, everybody has 24 hours in the day. You either can
Right.
look at the day and decide you want to be happy, or you can look at the day and decide you want to be a grouch. And I promise you, life is just easier if you're happy.
100%. That's cool.
Well, here we go. One of the things I wanted to dig down with you, right? This is our fourth or fifth expert series with you, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. But I don't think we've given you props for the systems or the platform that you have built, right? You have been intentional since you have been a server at the restaurant in building a foundation in real estate that allows you the flexibility, the options to do the most things with a seller contact, right? We talked about one time in your expert series, you don't cold call sellers, you cold call owners, right? And
Correct.
that subtle difference. And because of your foundation, you have the ability when you talk to an owner to turn that ownership lead into so many other things. So why don't you talk about the flexibility you've built? Then we'll dig into why that is so awesome and what makes you unique, but frankly, a model that others could choose to build if they desired.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that. So, you know what? I would attest to really figuring out your craft. Obviously, I'm a realtor. I started off as a realtor, then I became a broker. But in the meantime, obviously, I became an investor.
Mhm.
And now understanding that and understanding that when you're able to offer more owners options, provide more solutions for them, you're able to really figure out like, hey, you can take your one lead, you can take this one owner and listen to what their wants and needs are, and you could adjust to the best scenario for them. It's not always just listing the home as a realtor. Obviously, it's going to be purchasing the home. And after you purchase it, now what if they need to sell it right away? And you now can step in there and buy it. But if you're not formal and if you're not fluid and if you don't understand what to offer an owner, you'll never know how that even can become. You're going to lose a lot of potential leads generation. You're going to lose a lot of money potentially and doors that come along the way in your career.
Yeah.
And I think I've done a decent job. I don't want to say that I'm doing a great job because we're always learning,
Mhm.
and we want to be in this situation where you're at, Michael, to have a ton of doors. I mean, I'm on my way, but it's for the people that are out there wanting to know how to get their first, second, or third door.
Right.
And I think when you're established in your business and you're able to be a little more creative with that lead or with that owner, I think that's just going to be the difference for
Yeah.
anyone.
I couldn't agree more. And this is why I wanted to dig into this because, again, a lot of people get into the business, they come at it from an agent perspective or a wholesaler or a flipper, which are a single transaction type. What you have built in your foundation that goes way back to our first interview together is I can filter in number of leads, and then you have the way to pipe out or distribute what makes sense to the owner or seller, right? You're just not, hey, I got to force fit all square pegs in round holes. You're like, cool. You're willing to wait 90 days and you want top of market? Great. Let's list. Let's see what happens. Great. You need to sell tomorrow because you got to get to the East Coast because of this or that. Well, hey, here's your cash price, right? There's just so many options you've built in your foundation. I really think the flexibility you have allows you to really listen to the owner. And that was something we talked about in our second, third one is people need to stop saying they calling sellers because you guys aren't fucking calling sellers. You're calling
No.
owners, right?
Yes.
And you need to
Guess what?
listen.
An owner is emotional.
Yeah.
Owner has that blood, sweat, and tears in their home. That owner has, it could be an unwanted property, renters that are going bad and they don't want to deal with it, but there's still emotion behind it. It's not just a seller; it's an owner.
It's an owner. It's so different. And again, here's another thing. When you treat it as an owner conversation, you are building reasons to follow up. I don't know
100.
what the ratio is, but it ain't great. When all of you freaking cold callers are out there calling sellers, you're, I don't know, 1 in 100, 1 in 250, whatever it is. But if you stop that mindset and made it about calling owners, you can build follow up, because most owners don't have the bad tenant. They don't want to sell. But if you go, hey, right, I'm Omar, I'm looking in the area. What do you think? Did you know that a property down the street sold for X or Y? And you're adding value, like we talked about in that interview. You have a reason to follow up. Then you're Omar, the value guy. Hey, this is Omar. We've talked 17 times now. I call you the 22nd of every month. I call you. Oh, by the way, Omar, thanks for calling me. You know what? I need to sell because I'm about to retire. I got a job transfer. You're my guy. We've talked 23 times now, right? People
Follow
need,
up.
yeah, follow up.
Fortunes in the follow up.
Value first, get permission to follow up, be memorable. Life gets better. You're in the lead generation business, but it's, again, I don't know what it is. Call it 1 in 100. If you're just calling to look for that person who had a bad day and their tenants just told them to F off and they're not paying rent because of this or that, that's a long day. But if you're like, hey, I want to call 100 owners and I want to have 50 relationships, dude, mindset shift, baby.
That's it. That was key. If you guys didn't hear that, 50 relationships, not just conversations, not just phone calls, relationships. This business is built on relationships. And the faster you understand that, the faster you're going to be able to provide more solutions for people. Trust me, because they will tell you what they want if you learn to listen. And to be, and I'll be completely candid here. This last week, I had not seen this home. I got a phone call from a relationship client that I've helped other people that she knew, right? And her son buy a home 10 years ago. Okay. She called me and said, hey, Omar, this is what's happening. We have a property, et cetera, et cetera. The tenant's been there for 15 years. We haven't made an adjustment on rent. So you know that this person's been there for a long time and they've taken care of it. Long story short, she said, will you be able to buy the home? That's what her words were to me.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I still was like, are you sure you don't want to list it, find out what you can get for it, et cetera? I didn't just automatically want to buy her home.
Cool.
She said, no, this is the best scenario. You know why? Because I started listening and she started telling me more. And I said, oh, okay, perfect. So I ended up purchasing this property. It's under contract now. It's worth about $300K after it's fixed up, but I bought it for $175,000. So, and that's a good spread before you're going to fix it up. And it may not even need that much, which I saw it yesterday, or I had somebody go see it. And so what I'm trying to tell you guys is when you establish relationships, it comes back to you, not just phone calls. It's relationships and true quality conversations.
Yeah. Again, wholesalers, we're trying to give you this stuff here. Wholesalers are the worst, and not the, well, yeah, they're the worst. Cause I'm sorry.
They're the worst. They just want the deal. They don't care. They don't even do the due diligence after to try to make it all work for the new consumer or for the new investor that's buying it. They could care less. And I hate to say it, but
and they are the worst. And I say that because I get, no kidding, 8 to 10 calls a day from wholesalers. I block most of them, but every once in a while I'll pick them up, and it's always, hey, Michael, I want to buy your house. You don't know anything about me. You know, Jesus, it's crazy. But again, if you use it to build relationships, you build the flexibility for multiple exits. And again, the other thing I love about your story, because if you're building 50 relationships or 30 relationships, you're going to get a deal or two out of those relationships. But if you really have a relationship, you know what you get? You get referrals.
All day long.
Right? If people change your mental mindset from calling sellers to calling owners, and then if you go from that subtle tweak from calling owners to building relationships, the world gets easier. Frankly, again, back to our very first conversation, if you change it from sellers to owners and then owners to relationships, I promise you, your day is a lot more fun. What's the worst thing to do? Call 100 people and get told to F off 99 times. That sucks. But if you call 100 people and you have 50 conversations and 30 of them were follow-ups and, hey, Mary, how you doing? What's your son? This, that, the other thing. Dude, your day is more enjoyable.
Oh, 100%. And you impacted somebody
Mhm.
with your knowledge, with, hey, the market's doing this. Hey, I'm here for you. You're impactful. So now you're actually talking to someone that you're going to impact. May not be right now. Everybody wants that immediate freaking transaction or that immediate type of win. But remember, it's a process. Impact them so they remember, and when you do follow up with them, they're going to be like, oh yeah, this is the guy that told me about this and this. He was really, really nice, and he offered more information than most.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And
No.
to add here, Michael, I don't want to say all wholesalers are bad,
No. Yeah.
because they're not. But I'm saying, if you're going to be a wholesaler, why don't you do a little bit more follow up with that agreement that you have, and make sure that A to B to C work perfectly, because now the investor is going to want to come back to you because it was a nice and simple transaction, very clean, and you help them close the transaction, not just give me my money and I'm out.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about this conversation is we're just real world practitioners. And one thing you don't know about me is way back in my sales career, I actually had to make 100 dials a day before I went home. That was my job in tech, right? 100 cold calls a day, right? Back when we had to dial, right? There were these freaking dialers. And that was the worst job ever. Actually, I don't know what's worse between a cold caller and a property manager. I don't know. They both suck. I don't want,
Property
I
manager, man.
don't want to do either one. But where I'm going with this is, if we just change our mindset from cold calling another person, right? Trying to get 99 no's. I hear people tell that all the time. Count your no's because you're one closer to a yes, right? There's all that mental jujitsu we do. I truly believe that if people just listen to our last 10 minutes, they'll have happier lives, they'll have more relationships, and they'll do more business. Stop calling sellers, call owners. When you're calling owners, look to build relationships and good stuff, and then value, follow up, all of that. I mean, it's just far more enjoyable.
100%. And you know what? You're, like I said earlier, the conversations that you do have will, even if they don't become anything, you are giving so much. You become now a servant, technically, to giving them
Yeah.
information, and you feel better about yourself. You really do. Like, hey, I'm giving everybody info. Your choice to take it, and they'll remember you, like,
Yeah,
literally, and use it just to get better at your skills. That's
exactly.
it.
Yeah, I love it. And then the other thing that, again, we have both been through the wars of the last 20 years or so. Because you've built this foundation, your foundation is flexible enough to change to a changing market, right? We happen to be, as we've talked about last time, in a crazy market. Listings are down, buyers are paying stupid prices.
Through the roof, yeah.
Yeah, but that won't always be the case. There will
No.
be another down cycle, and you are watching the market and will be flexible enough to adjust whenever it happens.
And honestly, when it does adjust, because it will,
Oh, wow.
you're still going to be buying properties, and and then by the time you buy something, it may be, hopefully it's not a complete crash where you buy something and then
Yeah.
2 months later it's not worth the same amount of money. Let's
Yeah.
hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It did last time.
It did last time, big time. And um, if it doesn't happen, there's still going to be a decrease, but you're still going to be able to help people along that way.
Mhm.
And then you can adjust, and you know what? All these buyers are still going to want to buy.
Yeah.
And maybe the people that are still going to want to potentially, take advantage of whatever interest rate's going to be, because it probably will go up too.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be there. So people still need to buy and sell, and you can put people together.
Yeah.
And when you have that quality conversation with an owner, you can let them know, because what if they want to just cash out right then, even if it's going down?
Yeah. And then the other thing that people don't realize, and again, you and I've been through the wars and we know what happens. Do you know what one thing that happens when the economy or the real estate market turns?
What's that?
Agents fall off a cliff. We go from record numbers of agents to less. We go from everybody's a wholesaler to nobody's a wholesaler. We go from everybody's a flipper to nobody's a flipper. Hard money disappears, all this other stuff. And you're still standing there as that one voice, that one relationship. You're going to get all the follow-up. All these other wannabe fly-by-night people are going to go broke because their debt structure is wrong, or their marketing costs are wrong, or they didn't pivot when the market pivoted. And you're just going to be sitting there just socking it up like a sponge, just getting stronger.
And I'm looking forward to that. And I think you are too.
Yeah.
You know, right now we don't want nothing to mess up this market, because obviously it's doing well, and you want to put FHA products out there for pretty much 90% of buyers out there. And, you know, hopefully after that 90-day rule, or the 90-day flip rule, then you're fine, which is okay. So you have the house three months, but you can get top dollar for it. It's perfect. So I'm hopeful that when that does happen, we are all positioned, and we will be positioned, and then we'll be that voice that people come to. Hey, what can we do now? Hey, what can we do now? Well, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. A lot of people get in this business. It happens every time. The market goes like this, right? And I don't know what, I guess it's easy money, or it's the herd mentality, or whatever it is. But as the market runs up, more people come. And then when the market rolls over, they run away. I mean, the busiest I ever was 2010. I was buying 2-3 properties a month, 100% lent by private lenders. I was paying list price. And again, out of the MLS, I had a day job. I was buying 2 properties a month, let's say, out of the MLS with none of my own money.
That's awesome.
Everybody disappeared.
Yep.
It's crazy. So it'll happen again. It'll be different. You know, maybe it won't be residential. Maybe it'll be commercial. Who knows? But again, by watching the market every day and building relationships, people want to short circuit it. They want to make it about the spreadsheet. They want to make it about the flip. It's relationships, man.
Relationships go so much deeper than just the numbers.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about, how did you transition? So you went, again, we did this before, but I just want people to realize that you have this option if you're a realtor. You go from a realtor, so you're still working at the restaurant, right? That's your day job. Yep. You're a part-time real estate agent. You get a couple of checks. What was that trend? It's probably more of a mental thing. When did you go from my main job is waiter to real estate agent, even if it's just a mental shift?
You know what? It was when because I never got paid at the restaurant, by the way, because it's a family.
subtle detail.
I didn't get paid. All I was doing was waiting tables, and my tips were that was my income. Okay. So, and I did it enough to where I was always $20, $25 every table, $10, you know, because we being in the hospitality industry, you always want that $20 tip, right? Yep. Because it adds up and it gets closer to the $100 a day, $200 a shift. So the minute I started seeing like, hey, if all I'm working on is tips, why wouldn't I work more with sellers, owners? Yep. And at that time it was buyers, because I was brand new. Buyers, I didn't have a database. And I was like, let me go help more buyers find houses. Yep. And that's it. And so I started doing a little bit more. I started doing 1 to 2 transactions a month. And I was like, okay, I made a $7,000 a month, a $6,000 a month, now a $10,000 a month. And I'm like, I wasn't making $10,000 a month at the restaurant. Yeah. You know, so I was barely making my mortgage payment and my living expenses and gas. Cause remember, as a realtor, you're driving everywhere. So your gas bill is $1,000 a month. Okay. Yeah. So add to that. So it's like, okay, what else am I going to do? So I made that distinction in my brain to where if I only made tips from customers, why can't I just go all in on helping sellers and tell mom and dad, hey, mom, dad, you got to get another waiter.
There you go. And
that started happening, but I utilized the restaurant still to be able to gain a couple more buyers and
database
per month.
Nice.
So I always had a goal of 1 to 2 new clients a month from the restaurant, from me giving cards, because eventually it would happen. right? The market was still pretty booming, right?
Mhm.
And then the minute it crashed, guess what happened to all those people that I would wait tables on? They'd come to me because they said, "Hey, Omar, do you have any good deals?
Yeah.
You have," because the market crashed. Oh, as a matter of fact, I have an account with the banks. Let me find you an REO property.
There you
So
go.
now I took that $20 tip and that $80 or $70 check that they spent at our restaurant, and I turned it into a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 transaction.
Nice.
And I would do that consistently. And that's literally what I would say changed. And it's like, okay, now I can start focusing nothing but real estate. And then and obviously I already had one home.
Right.
And then I started seeing more. And then I'm like, okay, this makes sense now. So
That's
it was
awesome.
a mind shift change.
And then I think you had one more mind shift that I want to hit before we call this an awesome show. You went from being individually buyers or listings
Yeah.
to the platform that you now have, the ability to take a contact through whatever makes sense for them. That also had to be a mental shift. Was that maybe when you went from agent to broker, or was that after you became a broker before? Because again, I think something you have developed, and again, others can copy, but they won't, is the ability to take any lead, listen, and then disposition whatever makes sense. When did that happen?
So that's a great question, because from being a buyer's agent and then really not having the ability yet to listen to an owner. And by default, I was getting some listings, but not like I was now or like I am now and how I did the last few years. I think once I established gaining my own properties, okay, once I figured out, like, if this person can buy this house at 100, fix it up for 10 or 20,000, sell it for 160, make a $40,000-$50,000 profit, and I was representing this person, I said, okay, how can I do the same? And better yet, what other type of solutions can I offer these people if it wasn't what do you call a perfect scenario?
Right.
The short sales, because they're upside down,
Yeah.
the lease options, and wholesaling wasn't even a big deal yet. But, and then you get into subject to taking people's lending or taking people's mortgage, owning the home, and then just paying on the mortgage and helping their credit establish. I mean, there's so much more. So I think that once I realized that I was able to listen to owners more, I was able to transition to start really helping out all these owners in different scenarios and create more opportunities for myself, and at the same time develop relationships that pay me referrals. And as a matter of fact, what's the best referral, or what's the best type of advice or testimonial that someone can give you is a job well done.
Right.
And when they write that, and currently now we have like the most 5-star reviews out of anybody up here because of that.
Wow.
So that's what's cool.
Yeah, man, a lot of stuff going on there. One thing I don't know that I've asked you, but we'll ask it now so you can get some marketing making your phone ring, is if there are other realtors in the area that are looking to be inspired and a part of your organization, where would they go? Where should they go to reach out to you, get an appointment, see if they want to join your team?
You can follow me on Instagram at Omar_Alfaro, or you could email me, which is omar@omaralfaro.com.
Very cool. And again, if there's investors looking to buy stuff in your area, what areas do you focus on and you'd like to help people at?
In all the high desert, San Bernardino, Fontana, Rancho, Cucamonga, but primarily just Southern California. We're able to help out. We can JV. I can walk you through the process. I mean, we have a full team in place that helps rehab properties. And if you just need advice on if this is a good deal or not, or different creative ways to help this seller out, then yeah, reach out to me for sure. I'll help you guys.
That's awesome, Omar. This has been so much fun. I love what we're doing. I'm so happy you give me a little bit of time every week. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks,
All right.
Michael.
Yep.
Take care, guys.